And just as I put my hand on the rifle, the grenades came in.
What are we talking about today, Dave?
I heard we're going to talk about Vietnam today.
You feel comfortable telling that story?
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. We were on a, I don't know how often, but you'd have to go out on an ambush outside the wire, and again, I can't read a map, even though I went to map school, but they would have you go somewhere set up where they thought somebody would give them information.
They had some intel that there
was
intel.
That's what I'm looking for, the word intel. Maybe this trail is being used, so we'd set up. And this time we went into the village. I don't know why. It was raining, and it was miserable. So whoever was in charge, there was 4 of us, I think. He says, let's just go in. And, it's crappy out there. Which I was okay with. Remember, I wear glasses, and they steam up and everything.
Oh, yeah.
It's just horrible. So the village is mostly huts, like in the war movie. But there were a few things that were bigger than huts, and this was one of them. It was a house made out of stone or brick or something. Kind of like the big shot of the town, except it's a 2-room house. There's a front and a back. That's all there's. And the family was in the back. We were in the front.
And they were cool with you being in there?
Yeah, they probably shouldn't have been, but we were. I don't know why. And they had a big dining table. And we were sitting at the table playing hearts, which I didn't know how to play, so I was bored. And everybody's rifles were all over the place, and I had set mine against a wall for some reason. And then I sat down, and I didn't like the hearts game, so I was just kind of watching. And I had this. I mean, this is real. I mean, it happens to people all the time. I just knew something was wrong. I just knew it.
That happens all the time. There's something in your gut that just tells you that something's out of place, something's going to happen.
So don't ignore that, right? If you feel that, there's probably something going on. So I just knew it. So I got up and I went over to get my rifle. And just as I put my hand on the rifle, the grenades came in. And they were, now there's, I don't know, there's different kind of grenades. The ones, if you look them up, they're smooth. I forget what the number of them, M6, I don't know, something. And then there's the old-fashioned ones like see in the old war movies that look like a pineapple. Those are pineapple grenades. For some reason, they had both. So I don't know how they get grenades. But anyway, they come flying, and you could hear the clunk, 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 clunk. Just as I grabbed my rifle, the first one went off. And I literally, it was like maybe from me to the end of this desk, so that ain't very far, me to that camera, that close, like under 6 feet. I looked right at it, and I saw it explode. I mean, poof, but I saw it. I was looking right straight at it. And it blew me back, and I fell on the ground, and I still had my rifle in my hand. There were I don't remember. It's probably coal lights or something, the lighting in there. It was lantern kind of light. And it was Vietnam. There's no power. Poof, it was black. And more and more of them were coming in and blowing up.
Oh, my God.
One after another. But the roof of this house was made out of corrugated steel, like a I don't know, a shed. The first one knocked me down, and it blew a piece of blew the roof up. A piece came right down at a slant I was against the wall with my rifle, and it was right there. I swear to God, this is true.
It's so it shielded you.
Yeah, I can't tell you exactly, but it's probably as big as this desk. And it came down, and it wedged itself at an angle, and I was behind it, and all the grenades went off, and I could boom, boom, and that was it. I was okay. Don't tell me somebody ain't watching out for you sometimes.
So did you have any shrapnel at all?
I got a piece in my jaw somewhere. Got a piece in my ass and a piece in my ankle, I think, that I know of. And I did know about the one on my jaw till I went to the dentist for something. He said, there's metal in your jaw, and that was in...
And that was years later?
Yeah, it was a couple of years ago. Yeah, I never knew it was... I could feel it, though. It
no
itches.
kidding.
Yeah, I felt it my whole life, and it itches all the time. But I didn't know that's what it was. So remember, there's 2 kinds of grenades, right? The ones that I got pieces from, those smooth ones, when they blow up, inside the case is just like a wire wound around inside there with notches in it. So when it blows up, it shoots out like little staples. Deadly, but that's the old ones with those big chunks that come out. The one I got hit with was the newer kind, and that's why I got this little, I don't know, maybe later I'll show you my ankle. There's a little dot in my ankle where I got hit. There's one, I won't show you my ass, but there's one in my ass. And that was it for me. And then I forget how we got the light back on, but all those guys were screwed up except me. And I was the radio guy that night too, so I grabbed the radio. That's when I called in the artillery. That was the night. After that, everybody was hurt, so I called in and said we'd hit, and they were going to send in I forget what they call it, reactionary force. So what do they call them? A bunch of guys were going to come in and save our asses. And I went out of the house and looked outside to see what's going on, because there were other explosions. They blew up. They had down the road is a building that was made out of brick. I forgot what it was for. I'm talking about a building about the size of this room. That's all. And they blew that up with a bomb. So if you were in there, you're dead. But I don't think anybody was in there. I don't know what they're up to. But I went out, and it was dark out there. And there was one guy on the street with a rifle, a Vietnamese guy.
North or south?
At the time, I didn't know. And I got my rifle in my hand. He's got his rifle, and he's grinning. And I wasn't sure, and he didn't speak a word of English. He was the guys that blew up the building. He was one of those guys. But all this shit just happened too. It was like after a car wreck, you're just not thinking clear. So I'm looking right at him, and he's got that look. I could drop him. He must have got lost from his friends or something. And then I didn't know what to do with him, so he just took off, and I let him go. And then
well, you didn't know if he was a friendly or not.
Yeah, I didn't want to shoot him. I didn't know for sure, but by the end, I knew he was. But I wasn't going to. If I hadn't shot him by now, I wasn't going to. So then I called in artillery on where we thought they were, but my God, it was out in the ocean somewhere. I was there, total waste of time. But they came down, picked everybody up, hauled them out, and I was black from the soot and stuff from the thing. I was all dirty. They loaded those guys up on their trucks and just took off and left me there. And I was there all night by myself.
How'd you get back out? Or home?
Well, you could walk back to base from there, but it was a pretty good walk. But that's how you got there. You always walk down in the morning, or if you were going to, I was a cop in that town, kind of, and then you'd walk back. But so I was just there till morning, and I just stayed all day and did my policeman duties, and that was that.
There was another time that you escaped death, too, when you were swimming, right, in the ocean?
That was in Marine Corps, too, yeah.
So let's talk about that.
After Vietnam, I was stationed at Pendleton.
So after you had your tour over there, your 12-month in country, then you came back to the U.S. and you were like a prison guard, right, for another 12 months?
Yeah, I want to tell you about that too. They flew you.
I want to hear your story about. I've never heard the ocean story, so I want to hear.
Okay, I'm going to get the ocean. When it was time to go home, you had to catch a truck to the airfield over that was. I don't remember all the details, but I kept missing the truck for some reason. I finally got down there, and they put you. This is a war, right? There's things, guns, and you got on a nice passenger plane with stewardesses. Isn't that weird? And I got in a seat, and it was a pretty stewardess or something, and it was so, to get out of it, finally the plane took off. I fell asleep, and I think it flew for 12 hours or something, and I didn't wake up till it landed. I was out cold. We were so tired.
So we had also talked, I don't want to get too far away from your water story because I want to hear that, but we had talked about, you have these near-death experience, like I've had a couple of near-death experiences, mm-hmm. and when you have these, right before you have that near-death experience, or maybe you're right at the point of it, a calm comes over you, and you don't fear it. Like, there's no fear.
It's funny. I got that on my list.
You went down to Oceanside and you rented a surfboard.
We did that every weekend. So every weekend we had off. Yeah. And we did it pretty often, and you'd spend all day to get up, maybe once or twice, maybe 3 times. But boy, if you could do it, if you could get up on that board and it goes and stand up, you could see why guys surf. You were just flying along with the waves. So you and the wave are going together. There's no motor or nothing. And you're just going. It's just the coolest feeling. I wouldn't do it anymore because I can't. Once I almost drowned, that was nothing.
So tell me about when you almost drowned.
I went out on the board and I was trying, back and forth, but I couldn't. I can't swim for shit. Can't now. I never could. So I got way out there, and I fell off the board, and it just popped like a watermelon seed towards shore, and I'm stuck out in the deep water there, and I'm far from shore, like over 100 yards out, because in Oceanside the water don't get deep forever.
Right. Yeah.
But when I went in the water, I couldn't touch the bottom, and I'm splashing around, and now I know, and the waves are pulling you out farther. So now I know I'm in trouble. So I'm trying to yell to shore for help and wave my arms. But I'm too far away. I was like maybe over 100 yards probably. Nobody could hear me. And I was struggling. And then I was just exhausted. I couldn't do it. And I said, okay, this is it. And it's funny, like you said about the crisis. I was calm. I said, okay, I'm just going to.
Well, when those situations happen, and only people, if any of you ever had that experience, but when you're knocking on death's door, everything changes.
Yeah, it just changed.
It's
got
just
quiet.
everything slows down, the sounds go away, and the calmness just.
That's exactly true. Exactly how it felt out there. And I figured, okay, now I'm just going to lay my head down and just go under, and that's the end. I couldn't fight it anymore. And just as I did that, I tipped my head this way. I felt something touch my head. And I looked up, and it was another surfboard. Don't tell me that couldn't possibly happen. It had to be somebody saved my life. And I grabbed onto that board, and then I climbed up on it, and some guy was out farther. That was his board, and he'd fallen off. And I paddled out like I was helping him out, but really. And that was it for surfing. I found my board on the beach and turned it in, and I was done. No more surfing.
That's hilarious.
So that's 2 times that you've escaped death. One with a piece of steel on your body. And
Right.
then the surfboard. Any other times that you've almost died and you didn't?
No, not that I can think of.
Well, I don't want to get into that right now. I'll get into Jamaica later. Talk about that another time.
Yeah, that could be a movie or a book. That was a hell of a story.
What was that?
Jamaica.
Oh, that was worse than those 2 stories to me. Jamaica? Yeah, we'll talk about that someday.
Yeah, that'll be a future podcast. That's
Oh, my goodness.
just to tell that story alone. Just
hard.
and that was how many years? Well, so what?
I don't know how many years ago that was.
Man, I don't even know how long ago that was.
About
but
15 or-
No, it was over 15.
16 years, maybe?
17,
Maybe.
18 years ago, maybe. I don't know. But anyways, even like talking about it, like if we start telling the story, I'm going to get goosebumps on my arms. And
Me too.
Yeah,
That
was a horrendous situation. But anyway, a very interesting conversation about your
I had a
Vietnam.
great afternoon. This was fun.
It was great. I mean, I hope other people enjoy it, and I'd love to hear stories from other people. But anything you want to say to wrap it up?
I don't know if people out there have any questions about the war, but remember, I'm kind of a lightweight guy, so you're going to get lightweight answers, but feel free to ask. I don't know how you do it, but send the questions this way. I'll find out how to read them, and I promise I'll answer them. And we'll have a good time.
Very cool.
And stick around, because we'll be back in a week, I think, for another session of this, and you don't want to miss that one.
No, but we want to thank you. Please like and subscribe. Tell your friends about us, and any questions or comments would be greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you.